Right now on the Inside Slant, very excited to be joined by a guy who I'm certainly very excited to talk about his story, but at the same time, admittedly, a little envious, and that is Ben Chase. Ben, welcome into the show.
Thank you for having me. And if it makes you feel any better, I woke up in a Walmart parking lot and it was under 32 degrees. So it's not all glamour and tailgates.
Yeah, and definitely not envious of that part of it, but I had the opportunity to do traveling around the country, attempting to attend 70 or 71 football games over the matter of a few months. Definitely envious of that aspect of it, being a diehard college football fan. Tell our viewers and listeners what compelled you to do what you're currently doing, and just a little about your background, because I know as they see on the screen that you're a alum of the University of Florida.
Yeah, that's right. So that's I thought that's where you were headed. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Ben Chase. I'm going on a road trip to at least 70, maybe hopefully 71 college football games this year, all on the road. So I drive everywhere. I started in Tucson, and I got from Tucson to Pittsburgh week 1 and 5 games in 5 nights. And why? I left my last opportunity about 3 weeks before the season started, maybe 2.5 weeks. And, I love college football. I'm a Florida Gator, like it says up here, and the orange and blue. I love that. And, I've driven from DC to Gainesville for games overnight. I've driven from Orlando to College Station in 2020 during COVID behind a hurricane that was going through the Gulf of Mexico. Because there's nothing in this country that brings people together better than college football. And like, it's like the ultimate dopamine hit for me. So this journey, originally it was, about me breaking this record for most games on a college football road trip, which is 50 by 2 brothers in 2016. And now it's become like, that's so tertiary to the story of me, trying to go to these schools. And I try to interview at least 1 or 2 people and just say, like, why do you love this school? Like, what's your story? And I try to share those stories and share a tradition or adult beverage with fans. In Boone, I jumped in Duck Pond. They have a tradition: if we win, we swim. And it was 36 degrees, and I jumped in this pond. And last night here in Pullman, we took shots of Fireball at the Coug, and that's like what they do here to stay warm. So it's kind of taken a life of its own. This is game 35 today out of at least 70 halfway through, and every day it gets crazier and crazier. But that's a little bit about me. Before this, I was doing NIL stuff for 9 months, name, image, and likeness, helping student athletes get paid. So it kind of goes hand in hand. In fact, a lot of these schools, not a lot of them, but a handful, have said, hey, like, we'd like to have you come back and just talk to our student athletes about, telling stories and building brands and NIL, because, this trip has kind of become that, right? So hopefully I can do that for a long time after this.
So one of the things that has stood out about your story and your travels to me, you've had the chance to take in some of college football's, most tradition-rich and, storied venues and programs. You took in Texas and Alabama. You took in a Penn State game. You've been to the Big House at Michigan. You also saw a great rivalry, the renewal of that rivalry, the backyard brawl between Pitt and West Virginia at the former Heinz Field there in Pittsburgh. But then you've also seen Division II and maybe Division III games. So just talk about, mixing the two. And, is that something that you wanted to do, not only just to get the experience at each level, but then also trying to reach your goal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, college football is college football, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a JUCO, D1, D2, HBCU, Ivy League, big leagues, Power 5, G5, like, that's someone's kid, and that's someone's parents in the crowd. And that's, a 3rd, 4th generation, 5th generation Auburn Tiger, and there's legacy there. I went to a Benedict College game, a small school in South Carolina. And I got to hang out and meet people that were alumni in 1957, and they're there tabling for their school. Why? Because they know that it's going to make an impact on the students that are there, not just the student athletes, but the students and the community. Some of these big universities like Penn State, like, and I've been to some incredible games, but I've also been to some incredible games at smaller schools. Like, Harvard was down 14 points with 5 minutes left, and they were like a 28-point favorite. They tied the game, won in overtime, and then I was at a shootout, Fordham against Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio, that ended on a game-sealing pick six. The Ohio was up 1 point, and they picked not pick six, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Like, what a cool way to end a game. Then Florida State had a blocked extra point to win a game against LSU. Like, I've had some incredible game experiences, but to me, it's like meeting people and being adopted into each one of these families. Today, I got to last night. There was people waiting for me at the Coug, which is the bar here on campus, and then I had people waiting for me to jump in Duck Pond, chanting "Where is Ben? Where is Ben? Where is Ben?" Like, because I was going to get towels out of my van. So just being adopted in these communities has been probably one of my favorite parts of it. I'm gonna at the end of this make a quilts out of all the shirts that I buy, and that's kind of like a cool thing. That at the end of this I can point to and be like, huh, that was kind of cool that I did that, and I'll have a story and hopefully someone that I can remember and reach out to from each school at the end of this.
Yeah, one of the things I know you've mentioned in your other interviews and also on social media, just the generosity. It gives you hope for humanity. We know when you see folks, that are so generous. Obviously, they don't know you; they just love your story and love what you're doing, and can relate with you because of the love of college football. So whether it's tickets or supporting you in other ways,
Yeah.
just talk about the way folks have given you tickets and invited you to their tailgates, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean it's been crazy. Like, and sorry if I'm a little low. I don't want to be too loud in here, but it's from game one. I went up to a tailgate, and there was this couple was playing cornhole. I was like, "Hey, do you guys have an extra ticket?" They go, "Well, we have like 30 extra tickets." So how many do you need? And then game two, the backyard brawl, which you mentioned earlier, an hour before kickoff, tickets were $183. And I was like, all right, well, game two, I'm okay. I'm pot committed at this point. I'm going to pay. But I was like, let me just take one lap. So I took one lap, and the first tailgate I went up to, I was like, "Hey, do you guys have an extra ticket?" And they're like, "Hey, Bo, do you have an extra ticket?" And sure enough, they had an extra. Not only did they have extra, they were trying to sell it for $600, but they just decided share it with me, and I helped them clean up their tailgate, which they didn't ask me to do. But I was helping clean up. This lady comes up, she goes, "I don't know who you are, but can you come hang out with us after as well?" And I was like, "Sure." And I've had people, Venmo me. I was in Boone, North Carolina, and I got some. They have these App State Cookie Company or Appalachian Cookie Company, and probably the best cookies I've had on the trip. And I posted a picture of the cookies, and this lady just Venmos me and goes, "I got your cookies." I love the big App State fan, and I don't ask for that stuff, but people just they love sharing what their team. They love sharing their traditions, and at the end of this, and I try to do well by each school. I never, people like, "Can you rank all the things?" Like I never try to do any kind of rankings, and I don't go to like frat parties and like get like content of people getting like super drunk and like like Hail State or whatever, because there's people that are doing that, right? But this story is more about, like you said, the love and the love that people are showing me, and hopefully I'm showing like that all these schools have stories and people that love their schools, and it's worth it to like maybe plan a trip around, going to see a school and just getting on campus, for example. I had someone reach out to me and say, like, "I'm trying to get my wife to do a trip," and I said, "Well, what does she like, the Pacific Northwest, or does she like the Pacific Coast Highway?" "Yeah, like, of course." "Well, you could start in Washington, go to Oregon, go to Stanford, go to UCLA, USC, and end up in San Diego." Like, are you kidding me? Like, you could do a 2 or 3 week trip and hit some games, and it's like the best of both worlds. Hit Sonoma, hit the wine country. Like, there's so many things you could do, and college is different than professionals. Like, you have the bands, you have all these traditions before games, after games. Like, it's just, and there's all these different cultures. I went to had tequila in New Mexico State, and tomorrow at Provo, it's not they don't drink at games because it's it's primarily like a Mormon culture, but they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have a great sober time." I'm like, "All right, yeah, whatever." Like, I don't need to drink that fun. So it's just cool to like our country's so diverse, like you said, and it's cool that people share that what they love and however they love to do it, either food, tickets. I don't ask for money or anything on the road, but people want to see this. So this is not my journey anymore. It's like, we are doing this and we're going to go with you, and it's been crazy.
You talk about visiting Boone, North Carolina, and App State, and like I mentioned, you're an alum of the University of Florida. Obviously, so many great traditions there, and such a tradition-rich program. And one of the one of the traditions there at the Swamp is at the beginning of the fourth quarter singing a Tom Petty song,
Yeah.
as it won't back down. And so whether it's Penn State, Michigan, or maybe some of the less household names venues you've been to, but what are some of the cool traditions that maybe you weren't aware of previously that you've been exposed to, and hey, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, even last night, like we were at this local college bar, and the band, every night before game day, goes around and plays at certain spots, and they play like some fight songs and hype songs, and right outside of the bar, like literally on the porch, And it was funny. They're in like costumes and stuff. I was like, it's kind of cool being here for Halloween because they're wearing costumes, and the lady goes, no, that's what they wear every week. Like they're in the Tigger costume and they're half naked or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's super like incredible, And then you have like Charlotte, University of Charlotte. They had that program's only been around for 10 years, but one of the founders of their football program is he has a ambulance that he tailgates out of, and every game an hour before kickoff, like basically like 40-50 people take a shot of Gold Slugger that has like green dye in it. Like that's like one of their cool like pregame traditions. And like some of these obviously I haven't been to Iowa yet, but it's on the schedule. So seeing them wave to the Children's Hospital is obviously an emotional thing. And I was in Huntington, and it's not a tradition, but I did go to like the memorial for the Marshall the accident. Like that was game 20 or so, 7, I don't even remember the number, geez. But like when I drove up to the memorial, that was when it really hit me, like how important college athletics are to our country, because they were, it's like a living, breathing memorial. Marshall beat Notre Dame this year, and there was I try not to get emotional, but there was like a laminated sign that was like, we did it, we beat Notre Dame, we're just like everybody else, right? And like if someone cared enough to like take the time to print that out, put it there, like stuff like that, it's pretty powerful, man.
It most definitely is. Like you mentioned, as far as Marshall, had the opportunity to attend a game there back in 2007 when Chris Johnson was playing for East Carolina.
Chris Johnson, I played in a flag football tournament on Easter with him.
Oh wow! So what's he running now? About a 4.35 or something instead of a 4.24?
This was when he was in the league.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was.
You got the full effect.
Yeah, it was. It was a cool like league where every team had like a professional player on it. It was like I guess like a pro-am, but of course my team, their player didn't show up. But we played against Gary Sheffield, who threw like 5 interceptions against us. He's not a great quarterback, but
right. Was this in Orlando?
Yeah, it was in Orlando.
Because I thought it probably was, because I knew that's you were from that area, and then Chris Johnson is from that area.
Yeah. He I think he moved to Orlando following Hurricane Katrina, actually, and his like junior senior season at Olympia High School, I think, or Dr. Phillips, one of those two. I think it was Olympia.
Yeah, Dr. Phillips sounds correct, but I'm not 100%. I knew he was from that Orlando area when he got recruited to East Carolina back in I guess 2004.
Yeah, it's like him. Mike Sims Walker from UCF was there. Gary Sheffield, which is ironic because he's a baseball player. But yeah, it was a good little turnout. But yeah, it's a little ECU nod. That I have a photo with him from that day.
Cool. Yeah, that's neat that you have a picture with I guess one of the only, or perhaps still the only guy to rush for over 2,000 yards in the NFL.
Yeah, that's CJ2K.
But a couple more things for you here. One of the things that makes tailgating great is all the excellent food. So, what's some of the more memorable things that maybe you didn't even know existed that you've been exposed to on your journey?
Yeah, I don't know if I've said it a few times, but at Virginia Tech, they were doing a Mexican-themed tailgate, and they had deep fried tequila shots. You're like, what the heck? And I'm like, that's literally what I said. And it was, they soaked pound cake in tequila and then deep fried the pound cake. And I don't know how much alcohol stayed in it, but I thought it was a cool concept. And they had powdered sugar, and I was like, you guys need some whipped cream, and they're like, yeah, last time we had like Cool Whip with it, but that was like a cool one. At New Mexico State, they had like a tripe, like a stomach lining soup, because it's like a Mexican. I don't know the actual name of it because I don't know, but it was different. And I had that post game, and it was very hearty, and it was good because they had me sling a few shots, too many shots of tequila. One more. I had at the Charlotte game, the husband of the basketball coach made salmon and shrimp and invited me up and that was, you don't really see a lot of people grilling salmon and shrimp at tailgates, but that was probably the best seafood I've had at a game. So those are probably the top three. I've had some really good moonshine though. Holy smokes! In West Virginia, I have actually in my book bag right now, and I probably should have on campus. I have a bottle, a thing of peach and of apple, and here in Pullman, I guess they posted in this like alumni Facebook group that they're like, this crazy guy's coming to Pullman, and they like posted my screenshot. So someone sent me that, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna try to. It was it's a private group, so I like requested it, and I waited like. I think it took like almost a day to get in, and I posted this morning like, hey, like I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the hospitality. If you see me on campus, I will have moonshine, and if you want to just ask, can I hold that for a second? I will let you hold it for a second. So I have apple and peach moonshine.
Nice. So you were able to go to Marshall as well as Morgantown.
Yeah, that was a Wednesday night, Thursday night combo. So they probably the TV team. They were like, yeah, this is great for us, and it obviously worked out for me too.
And that's kind of leads me into my final question for you. As you look at the remainder of October, as we're down to the final weekend, obviously you're in Pullman tonight watching Washington State take on Utah. Tomorrow night you're going to be in Provo watching my East Carolina Pirates take on the BYU Cougars. Unfortunately, you'll be decked out in blue, but I understand you're at LaVell Edwards Stadium, so you got to do what you got to do, right? But well, tell us about the plans for the month of November as well as bowl season.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up my schedule right now. So let's see. It's Halloween weekend. Jeez. All right, so I'm in Tucson on Saturday, where I'm going to literally go to just pick up a credit card because that's where my apartment is. And then so going forward next week, I got 5 games that ends in Lawrence for Oklahoma State, Kansas. I'm expecting that could be the first field storming that I could possibly witness, because if Kansas wins, they'll be bowl eligible for the first time since 2008 or 7, and that's probably field storm worthy, right? And then the week after that, I go to Bedlam for what could be like the last game in Norman, because obviously Oklahoma's going to the SEC, and then the final week of the season, as far as rivalries go, my goal is to get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a Egg Bowl, and then go to Iowa, then go to the Iron Bowl and to Tuscaloosa. I've been to the Iron Bowl in Auburn, so this will be the first time I'm doing the other way. And that's one of the teams I won't be wearing their gear. I have 6 teams I don't wear gear, so people are like, "Oh, this guy's just going to go and betray Florida." No, like I do have a little bit of allegiance, so I do have a line that I draw. And then for bowl season, and if you guys, I think you guys are a win shy of bowl eligibility, or
correct? Yeah, the Pirates are currently 5-3.
Yeah, so if you guys BYU or down the road, I have I got 13 or 14 bowl games on the schedule, so I wouldn't be shocked if I see you guys, and if you just happen to be listed as the home team, that I wear a shirt and hat of the home team, so I could be wearing your colors pretty here shortly in the next 6 weeks or so.
That's awesome, and want to respect your time, Ben. We really appreciate you carving 20 minutes out for us. Enjoy Pullman tonight. Here's hoping you get to see a Pirate victory, and ECU becoming bowl eligible tomorrow night down in Provo. Safe travels, and we'd love to have you back on. Maybe there toward the end of December as you're wrapping up your journey. Yeah,
no, that'd be awesome. Like I said, when you guys make a bowl game, I'm hoping you're the home team, so I can wear the colors and rock them on this little podcast for you guys. So I'm super fired up, and I want to get to ECU game at home, and hopefully, I don't think it'll happen this season, but if this becomes like a thing, I don't think I'll be doing 70 games every year, but I see a vision where this is traveling around telling stories and doing some more intimate opportunities. I would love to come and hang out with you guys.